The Timeshift.
Hello and welcome to the Timeshift. I'm Chris Hall, and this week I'll be looking at the latest edition of Class entitled The Metaphysical Engine, or What Quill Did. Now, because this video is going to be a review, this video will be spoiler heavy. So if you don't want this episode spoiled for you for whatever reason, it's best to switch the video off now. Okay, everybody ready? Everybody geared up? Let us dive headfirst into the Metaphysical Engine, or What Quill Did. I don't know. I really don't know anymore. I'm lost for words with this week's episode. How it can exist from a series like this is just totally mind-blowing beyond anything else. Now, I've spent the past few minutes just thinking of a witty joke, a way that I could start this episode to really kick it off, to start with a laugh. But I can't. I just can't. So, I'm just going to come out flat out and say, I thought this week's episode was fantastic. Honestly, it's by far and away the best episode we've had this series, and it's a damn shame that we get an episode so good, so very, very good, as the penultimate episode this series. Especially given that next week's episode looks like it's going to be an almighty clusterfuck. And the absolutely worst thing that I could say about it is that the magical glass wonkavator that they find themselves travelling to these different dimensions in, that the copper tubing at the back of it looks terribly cheap, but, you know, it's Doctor Who, it's a Doctor Who spin-off, so yeah, not all the sets and stuff are going to look fantastic, but still, aside from that, this episode was almost exactly how this entire series should have gone, if on a mechanical level and nothing else. This episode was focused, it was streamlined, it was just about one central character. The rest of the cast didn't really pip in with wacky jokes and pop culture references for silly little moments of brevity and comic relief. No, it was about a singular character, their struggle, their problems, which, yes, has been more or less what the entire function of almost every episode this series has been, but this week it worked. This week it worked because it was about a single character. They weren't trying to crowbar a large ensemble cast into a story which only required maybe a couple characters within it. The only other episode we've had of this quality, or approaching this quality, was with the third episode of this series. And again, the reason why that episode worked was because it was so much more focused down. That it was really only about one character. As I said in my review for that, you could just pare it down to the point where it was just the nerdy girl and her father, and it would have worked almost perfectly. With this episode, yeah, you can't really pare it down as much, but what we got all the same was fantastic. The locations that they went to, these strange dimensions, these alien worlds, look brilliant. It's a shame that we don't have planets that look as good as this in Doctor Who. That in Doctor Who it's almost always generic space corridor or estate somewhere in London. That we can't have anywhere as fantastic or fantastical looking unless they just throw a green screen or a filter over a quarry. It's truly remarkable that we can have an episode which, even the character that we get introduced to, Balan, the shapeshifter guy, in the short time that we have with him, he's more of a well-developed and well-rounded character than anybody else that we've had introduced to us this entire series. He's more three-dimensional, he's more of a character, he's more memorable than anyone else that we've spent the better part of 2.5 months following around. This week's episode and last week's episode prove beyond anything else that the greatest issue this series has had, beyond any kind of misconceived notions that I had as to what this series was going to be before I actually saw it, that the biggest issue that it has is its lack of focus. Last week's episode, whilst I did joke about it feeling like it should be an activity within an A-level drama class, the thing that really made it work was the fact that it was so focused, that it was just about these characters in this situation, and all the characters within it had an active part to play within the mystery, that they were all there trying to save the day, that they were all an active part within the adventure, that you had no character there just to spew pop culture references or to be the comic relief, that everybody had a part to play in solving the mystery. It actually worked infinitely better than maybe I gave it credit for in the last episode, but Still, that's what this series needed to be. It needed about the characters themselves solving the problems, that they all should be an active part within it, that it should be more about them as characters and not about silly science fantasy running pointy things whilst the dun 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 music plays in the background to borrow a cliche from Doctor Who. Last week's episode proved that it could work because it was so focused down. This week's episode again proves it some more. All you need is an interesting character and an interesting story, a story which the character themselves has an arc within. Last week's we had it, this week's we had it. The only other episode that we've had with a similar kind of approach to it was episode 3. Almost every single episode that we've had aside from that has been bad Doctor Who territory. It's been bad science adventure at time. It's been Monster of the Week scenarios. Next week's episode looks like it's going to be lacking in focus, that it is just going to be Shadow Man of the Shadow King coming out of hiding to have an alien invasion of London again, an alien invasion that no one's going to remember next series if there is one, or will ever be reflected or referenced within Doctor Who. One of the things that reminds me that I did like about this week's episode is how it fit itself into the greater Doctor Who mythology and lore. Whilst this episode was not directly tied to the Doctor or the Time Lords of Gallifrey or anything like that, it still made references to things that we know and we can identify with. When not Michelle Gomez, the head teacher, was talking about the tears, it made me start to think back to the tears that we had a couple series ago. Are the tears that are taking place within Coal Hill the same kind of thing, or is it just kind of like a hold-all term? Did the Doctor, when he reset the universe, not do it properly? Is there still that problem? Is that the reason why no one remembers because aliens are invading London because of those cracks? Is that the case? Is that something they're setting up for the next series of Doctor Who, or in the next series of Class? Maybe, maybe not, but the fact that it ties itself into this greater world makes it more substantial. Of course, we had other references like that when, in the first episode, the Doctor sees Clara's name on a wall, which I hope there's not kind of some kind of Easter egg that she's going to come back for the final series and repeat her Capaldi or something like that. No more Clara, please. Clara free from now on when it comes to Doctor Who, but I'm starting to go off on a tangent talking about Doctor Who rather than this episode. I hope at least next week's episode is going to be stupid, so stupid that it's at least laughable, if nothing else. Because I hate for it to be just genuinely crap, because that makes this week's episode all the more tragic, but whatever, with all that said and done, let us jump into performances. Well, we don't think I'll be talking for that long. Okay, so here we are in the performance section where I talk about the performances of the cast within this episode. We have 3 characters. Not Michelle Gomez, the head teacher, was fine. She was a usual distant, creepy self more than anything else. Can't fault her for anything like that. The final speechy bit she gave before she vanished into her Bunsen burner holographic machine thing, they'll get a bit silly, but, you know, not the worst thing ever. The guy playing Balin was suitably measured. I believed him as a character. He was a very well written guy for what we had, for the little period that we had with it. And Catherine Kelly as Miss Quill, this is by far and away the best episode that we had with her within it. She was great. She was genuinely great. This is the episode where her character finally comes full circle, that she becomes more than just the character that shouts and drives buses into tentacle monsters, that she actually becomes something far more compelling. And I'm going to be honest with you, as soon as we got to the final sequence of the episode, I was just... She had the gun. She should have just killed Prince Charlie there and then. Just there and then, as I was watching the episode, I was like, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. Or if you're going to kill him off and you don't want it to be as revenge or something, have him die in heroic circumstances. Have him on top of Big Ben with the cabinet in his hand as he's trying to save the day, as all the shadow men are coming along going, "Ah, we're going to get you now, Mr. Prince Man." And he comes back, "No, you're not. I'm going to save the day." And he opens the thing and all the souls start to kill the shadow men. And it's like, I'm going to be the hero now. Kill all the motherfuckers. And it starts going about, it kills the shadow monsters, and it kills all the baddies, and then Father Christmas flies over and gives presents to all the good little boys and girls, And then when the day is saved, he gets run over by a Ford Mondeo. That would be the perfect ending for me for this series. No, seriously, how can we give him like a heroic send off for this series? We have to approach this in a very serious way. I don't know. I'll take a moment to think about it as we transition to the overview. So the overview. What did I think of this episode as a whole? Great, fantastic. Say no more. Say no more. I'm sorry. I just look at just flashing back to the trailer to next week's episode. Oh, Christ Almighty! What a colossal clusterfuck that genuinely looks. Oh God, the hard work that's been done over this and last week's episode are just going to piss up the wall, isn't it? We're going to go from having 2 episodes, yeah, one which is slagged off a bit, but still 2 episodes which have focused and measured and had some kind of decent pacing and actually had the characters all involved in a way which felt real, with genuine character moments within them, which felt as though they tried to make them more identifiable human beings. That's going to vanish for Shadow Man of the Shadow King. I'm back, bitches! Oh, sweet mystery of life, lass, I found you. Oh. Prince Charlie will make a big speech about genocide, then he'll open up the box whilst he starts crying, going, ah! And all the little sperm soul things will zap the Shadow King and they'll go, ah, motherfuckers, I'm dying, bitches. Of course, the Shadow King aren't going to kill the prince first, the one person that can use the box. They're going to kill everyone else. You're just going to get some random extra who's just like bumming along, minding their own business, like do. It'll be like a marathon runner. It'll be a charity runner with like Race for Life on it. Like, oh golly gee willikers, I just run my best lap today. I'm sure going to hope to raise a lot of money so I can save the lost puppies and orphanage. Oh, it's been a bad year for them. It burned down just the other day. I need to raise some money so that little Timmy can get the operation to give himself a body. I lost it in the fire, you see. Oh no! I'm dying! I'm turned to dust! Ah! And then you'll have a character who's tangentially involved in the episode. It'll probably be Nerdy Girl making pop culture references like, oh no! Oh, you you go and put this on Instagram, you fucking ah! I'm the feminist one, motherfucker! Look, and at the end of the episode, there'll be like a 3-way like Mexican standoff thing. Miss Quill will be holding the gun up to Prince Charlie's head like, you better motherfucking use the box, you fucking little cock-sucking fucking fucker. And he'll be like, oh no, I'm not going to use it because genocide's a naughty thing, what would the doctor say? And then you'll have not Michelle Gomez back again like, yes, we don't actually have to kill them. I don't know why I'm starting to sound like Peter Lorre, but you don't have to use it. You could use all the souls inside it and make them think of a new dimension, will something back into reality. You could create another universe or a big giant fucking dildo and beat the Shadow King over the head with it. I don't know, I'm just pulling this out of my arse. That's how it's gonna end. It's gonna be Miss Quill with a 12-foot dildo beating the King of the Shadow King round the head of it like, ah! It's gonna suck so much. Yeah, that's, in all the seriousness now, that's probably how it's gonna be the final countdown, isn't it? It's going to be Miss Quill saying, use the thing, and Prince Charlie saying, no, I'm not going to use the thing. Then not Michelle Gomez will say, you don't have to use the thing, but if you were to use the thing, then statistically speaking, we have like a 95% chance of not dying in nuclear war in 5 years when Donald Trump is finally inaugurated as to being the President of the United States of America or anything like that. And, you know, alternatively, you could use souls inside it to like will a giant plush toy into existence, a pocket universe, and lock them in it, or bring your people back, because Doctor Who no one ever dies, and they'll be like, oh, well, that's a good thing. Then suddenly Miss Quill will go into labour and out will pop her child, and then she'll get killed by the Shadow King, and then the Shadow King will get killed off. April won't die for reasons of convoluted self-importance to make the series not as big of an ending. Then Prince Charlie will have to raise the child of Miss Quill, and Bombardier, Bombarard, Tom Bombadil from this week's episode, and the episode will be over. And then maybe the BBC will do a second series or not. Either way, this next week's episode probably not going to be as excited as I described it, but it'll be a thing. It'll be a thing. So, what do you think? What did you think of this week's episode? What do you think is going to happen next week? Let me know. I'm honestly curious. I'm now going to have to lie down. Goodbye!